wash away. So I run away. I run away from you. I run away. I keep running and running and running, and when I reach out to you, I always come back running. You change your mind so fast, you think I would have run. Somewhere inside you lives a girl I'd like to know. When I get next to you, you've got somewhere to go. So I run away. I run away from you. I run away. I keep running and running and running and
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, corn dog lovers of all ages, welcome to In the Box with your hosts, Matt and Adam.
And Geo.
Everybody get...
Hello. The gang's all here. Look. He's here. Say
We're
wave
here.
high, but don't wave too fast.
Matt.
No, it's actually doing really well. Normally,
It
it
is.
would be like...
Don't jinx it.
So, welcome to In the Box for whatever date it is, October 18th, whatever year it is. Is Matt frozen?
No, he's not moving. I think he's frozen. Is he really frozen?
I can't hold that anymore.
I can't do it. I can't do it anymore.
That's fucking amazing. Oh, I mean, that's beep amazing.
All right, so what you guys know out there in MASL fan land, in the box, we were using Zoom last year, and Zoom was terrible for streaming because it reduces the quality, doesn't let you do cool stuff like neat sound effects like that or
One of my favorites.
or that stuff, but we're using a program called OBS, which stands for Open Broadcast Studio, It is a open source program that a lot of people and media and gamers use to stream to various platforms. Probably the most widely used piece of software for streaming. There is a program called OBS.Ninja, recently renamed to VDO.Ninja, but I have no idea what VDO stands for, so we're going to go with OBS. And it is a freeware thing that a guy built on his free time because he liked OBS and he wanted to do conferencing. What are you doing over there?
I'm dancing to a song in my head.
Okay, never mind. This will be a shorter story than I was hoping, I guess. He programmed this thing. It's basically a replacement for something like Zoom. It's a conference call system. It can use any browser. You can do cool things like get these, scenes and, this kind of thing and that kind of thing and that kind of thing going on. And it works really well, except for some reason it doesn't like iPhones as much. And for some even more reason, it doesn't like Matt's newer iPhone. So we've been struggling with the last 2 months or whatever. It's all summer and into the fall about trying to get Matt on the show. And finally, after Matt said, you know what, I just have to step away from the show and do my own thing, and then we fixed it. So you're not getting away that easy, Matt.
Come back here.
So Matt needs to be vertical right now. So just maybe we can put little graphics or something where Matt usually is.
We could do like a picture, right? And then it would be like it's all his screen and no one would know.
Oh, wait.
No, that was perfect. The way you did it, just right over.
We can do that.
Eric, we'll get to that. I promise.
Matt is the holder of the MSL logo for now.
We'll get to that.
Although I don't want the MSL logo on our show, just in case. Oh, yeah. But anyway, so we're still working with the developer. The cool thing is that I have a direct line to the developer of this program. He actually worked with me last night at 11 p.m. to try to get some things fixed. We've been testing out and messing around with it all weekend, so I think we're good. We're definitely good for tonight. We'll try to get Matt correctly oriented at some point in the future, but at least for now it works well.
At least we can see him and hear
Hey,
him.
at least we have audio.
And we have
I
audio.
was gonna say that.
sound like. Are you saying I sound like Nick Vassos all of a sudden?
Wait, did someone?
No.
Oh, I had top chat chosen, and it doesn't show, and it didn't show any of the chats. So here's the thing: YouTube has this thing called with two options, either top chat or live chat. When I had it on top chat, none of your chats showed up. So I guess you're not top.
They all showed up for me.
Yeah, but I had top chat chosen. I didn't have live
No,
chat.
same here.
Okay.
So the only difference between my top chat and my live chat is that they come upside down. So the newest in top chat, the newest one comes from the bottom, as where live chat, it's the other way around.
Oh, I thought you were talking about you had to stand on your head to read it.
No, it's the same.
Yeah.
So guys, this is In the Box Live.
So what are we doing?
Let's talk about.
It's the weirdest
wait,
dream I've
before we
ever
get in-
had.
Before we get into MASL, I just want a reminder to the fans. M2 released their schedule. It was last week. There's 12 games. They haven't came out with an official conference or divisions, but from what it looks like on the schedules, they're all in the same cluster. So Chicago, Crunch, and Muskegon all play together, and Wichita, Omaha Kings, and I can't remember who the third team is.
You're not really well prepared for this, are you?
I am really well prepared together. Amarillo, that's who it was. I'm sorry, Amarillo. Oh, and New Mexico's back, so New Mexico will be playing with them as well.
Nice.
So it's just like clusters. And I know some fans don't really like it, but I mean, it's really cost effective for them. It's not going to cost them an arm and a leg to travel. I know there is some I don't know if they're conferences yet. They haven't confirmed it, but some teams like Wichita goes to San Diego, or they also play Ontario, stuff like that. So not all the schedules are ideal. I know we had a fan in here talking about Cleveland playing the same three teams, 12 games. But when you think about it, Cleveland is just getting off their foot or off their feet. Off their feet.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a starting point. It's a starting point.
Yeah.
I hope to see them in the first division next season, though.
Yeah, I think all of these fans need to realize they don't have billion-dollar budgets. And I mentioned this Friday. You can't just sit there and fly a bunch of players out to the West Coast for a game, fly them back, and then fly back the next week to play another team. It's not feasible.
But you can do that to the East Coast or to Florida, for example.
You could,
No, I think he's talking about M2 teams, right?
He's talking. I was talking about Utica going to Florida twice, but on separate weekends, back to back. Are you guys staying? Are you guys going to stay there all week?
I don't know.
Because that would be a cool trip.
That's just
That would be a cool trip.
no.
No. All right.
No, I did the Florida thing already, and that was the 3 days was fine with me. I couldn't do a week down there.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Hey,
But yeah, so one last thing, Adam. So guys, check out the M2 schedule, and if you can follow games, let's follow games. I will get these guys to pick teams to follow in M2. I know Matt's gonna go with Omaha Kings, but then also a quick news flash for M3. M3 they announced a new team. The new team is called they're actually from Maryland. They're actually from Maryland, but they're from Frederick. They're not from Baltimore. It is Westernville.
how close is that to Baltimore?
It's like an hour. Not bad.
How big is their field? What?
You know what? I'm going home. So
Are
I'm
you
excited to
already
have
home?
3 teams to watch.
Nice.
Why do you think? Wait, back up real quick. Why do you think I'm going to pick Omaha?
Because you have an Omaha jersey? Oh wait, you have oh no, that's M3.
I don't have Omaha. I don't have an Omaha jersey. I don't have any M2 jerseys.
I have an Omaha jersey.
You don't have oh no, Adam has an Omaha jersey.
Yeah, Adam does.
I have two. Although I screwed up and I ordered the second one. I must have scrolled the wheel down and it was extra small, which isn't going to work. So I gave it to my daughter. I have the black.
I'm sure sometime this year I'll get one, but
I'm working. So fans that are watching the show, we are working with Emmanuel on a nice little surprise. So stay tuned.
We are.
We are.
I mean, we are. Of course, we are.
Yes, we are. It's the biggest surprise ever.
It's going to be a giveaway. So, but stay tuned. Stay tuned.
It's such a surprise that we don't even know about it yet.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's top secret.
Yeah.
So before we get back into league stuff, we got a bunch of stuff to cover and things. So there's a gentleman named Ken Ezerim. I think he's Ezerim KC on Facebook. He reached out to a number of us over the summer. He lives in Africa. He runs a youth foundation. If you guys remember the show we did last year, the fundraiser show, we had Bulla and Donna on. Well, we kind of had Donna on talking about the girls, Girl Power Africa. And Ken's foundation is very similar to that, but for boys. And he would ask that he posted a video. He would ask that if you take a couple minutes to watch that, it's like 2.5 minutes long. And if you can donate anything possible, money, equipment, whatever, we're going to have him on the show at some point, but we keep running into technical issues and scheduling and all sorts of people leaving our show and then coming back and coming back. And then, yeah, exactly.
and plus he's not on Central Time, so.
Right. He did say he's okay to be on a show at 8:30 Central, but it's like 3:30 in the morning his time. But so he'll be on. But yeah, take a look at that video. It's posted in the box yesterday, I think. Today, or I don't know. Every day is all together. All together. So that's my shout out to Ken. And Ken, we will definitely have you on the show. We just don't know when and how we're actually going to do it. We might just have a separate, like 15-20 minute segment with just Ken on, because it doesn't look like we're going to hit the fundraiser show this year before the league starts, or maybe before Central Cup and all that stuff.
It's tough. It really is tough.
It takes a lot of work, and we haven't done any of it yet. But that said, if anyone's interested in talking about a charity or organization you're involved in, message one of us or post in the box. Talk, and maybe the thing will come together on its own.
Yes.
Alrighty. So Friday. Interesting news came out.
Friday. Wait, are we jumping right into that, or are we going into the transactions first? There's only 3 transactions to talk about, anyways.
Wait,
All
are we
right.
talking about my show on Friday? Yeah, it was a great show. We talked about sports betting and handicapping the league.
He was already hinting him, Run. We'll make that joke.
Mm,
Wait, is that the big news we were talking about? Was that?
Yes.
yes.
Matt's sports betting show is off to a good start.
We got to start, we got to make, a little, intro to that.
Let's talk about that later.
Okay.
So
All right,
transactions. Dallas signed. Why don't you do the Dallas signing and release?
Felipe Silva, they re-signed? Signed. Re-signed. Re-signed Felipe Silva and released Arthur. Right? That's how you pronounce it. Or how would you pronounce it? Arthur?
Oh,
I don't know.
they released Arthur Evo.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
That's Dallas. And today, yesterday, Matt Perella, goalkeeper, friend of the show, was on last year at some point, signed with the Milwaukee Wave. I've had many Wave fans post or ask or smoke signal what's happening with Josh Lemos. Is he coming back? Josh is awaiting a visa. Hang on. Josh is awaiting a visa. As soon as the visa is figured out, he will be back. Until the visa is not figured out, the Wave still have to figure out something to do. And the Wave also need a backup keeper. So Matt is a very, very, very good keeper. A good addition to any team, but we have him, so you guys can't have him. Yes.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like with the schedule this season, there's a lot of teams that need I think all teams really need a backup goalkeeper because, some of the scheduling is tough. Even if it's just one day apart, you still need a backup keeper. You never know what happens.
Well, we
You
saw
don't
what
wanna be in
happened to
a
Rafa last year. Rafa wasn't ready, wasn't really expecting to play much, stepped into the role, or not last year, 2 seasons ago, I guess. Wasn't ready to play, stepped in, had the best numbers of the league through the first third of the season, then got injured and just still played well, but just was never able to continue the streak going.
Yeah, I hope they use Matt Perella more than they did in Utica a couple seasons ago. He is a great keeper, but I think with Andrew Coughlin in net, he's been a workhorse the whole time he's been in Utica and hasn't really needed a backup. So Perella wasn't used that much for us, but good goalkeeper, great guy.
Oh yeah, I want to say
Second,
this.
second best goalie I know named Matt, but whatever.
I want to say this very delicately. I love you, Matt Perella, but I kind of hope you don't play any games. That only means because Josh will be back and starting and playing. But I think to your point, I think teams need to not only adopt a backup, they need to adopt a 2-keeper system again.
Yes, agreed, 100%. Because I think one, let's not risk injury, and 2, it's if based on this season, right, the schedule that we see compared to some of the seasons in the past, it seems like we're going to go to more back-to-back games, or eventually, if not more games for the season. So let's adopt that 2-keeper system.
But I think it's a bad idea to switch them at halftime.
Yeah,
I was just about to say.
Because we've seen
go
that.
Monterey.
We who did it? Was that Monterey? Yeah, Monterey did that.
It was Monterey. It was Reynosa and who's the other guy?
I know, right off the top of my head. Eric, help us.
Remember Reynosa. That's all I can remember.
Reynoso. And the guy who we thought was the second keeper who ended up doing much better than Reynoso and was the first keeper by the end of the season.
I know. Don't. Hold on. I'm going to find out.
I can't remember. Eric, you're the expert on goalkeepers. Help us out here.
He ended up being back up to Pardo in San Diego.
No. That was Arriaga,
Yes.
Wasn't it?
Yes, that's who it was.
No, it wasn't. Arriaga was from RGV.
No, Arriaga was RGV. Never mind.
Yeah. Dude, why can't I remember him?
I
Oh
don't
my
know.
god, I feel so bad.
So do
No.
I.
All right.
But anyway,
But we know.
they switched him up at halftime with totally regardless of the game situation. It didn't even matter. And he started out giving up a couple goals, and everyone was like, why are they doing this? And then he just took off.
Yep.
You know what part of the problem is? Like Monterrey, they only use Reynosa for like their keepers, like their pictures. So I'm gonna blame Monterrey.
Okay.
All right.
I'm good with that. All
And
right,
just
so
for
those are
that, they're not in the league.
yeah, they're
Oh,
not in the
that's-
league. We don't need to know anything about them. San Diego did it a couple times, but I think they realized that they made a mistake. In fact, they took Pardo out in one
it was
game,
part-
and then
it
by
was
the end of the
Pardo and
game, they put him
Arriaga.
back in.
I think that was Arriaga that backed him up that game.
Yep. They switched him at halftime, and then things were going south as they put Pardo
So
back
put
in.
Pardo back in. Yep.
Like, whoops, never mind. We didn't.
But
do
I
anything.
think, I mean, look how Pardo and Benzella played. I think they did a great job. I think you just need to have like the keepers at like that level at all times to be able to play, right? So it's like you guys just got to be on. I feel because I mean, if Danny Waldman and Chris did it, Benzella and Pardo did it. I mean, I know those are some of like the top keepers and all, but
Valdivinos.
thank you.
Bernie Valdivinos.
I was Googling it and talking, and it
Yeah,
wasn't
I
working
was
for
too.
me.
But I was letting you talk, so then I Googled. All right. Thanks, Eric. It was Valdivinos. Jack just
Thanks, Jack.
posted it. So in real time, Jack, you were behind what we said, but it might look like you said it before we said it. So, but we win because it's our show. But
Yay.
thanks for playing.
Thanks for
All right.
playing.
Let's get to the playoff format.
Yes.
On Friday, they announced league meetings were in Milwaukee. Cool. And they announced a new standing system and playoff system and the whole thing. So instead of a winning percentage deal with like 75 different tiebreakers for who played who and what color jerseys they had, and what were the other tiebreakers? Like how many
Number
knots
of pretzel sales.
pretzel sales, how many knots they had in their shoes, and
Who sells corn dogs?
well, nobody wins that. Not
Yeah,
in this league.
no one.
They
Except
decided to do it.
Dallas.
They did a point system similar to how hockey does it. So, if you win the game, you get 3 points. If you lose the game, you get 0 points. That's easy. If it's tied at the end of regulation, each team gets 1 point, and then if a team wins in overtime or a shootout, they get an additional point. So teams either get 1, 2, or 3 points depending on what happens with the game. I've heard a lot of people that hate it, but I have not heard a single realistic reason why they don't like it other than it's different. Or
Because
it doesn't
people
make
don't like
any
different
sense.
things.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense because why change it? Because everything else was fine.
First of all, I actually really like this system.
I do too.
I really, really, really like this system. This system is actually really cool. It reminds me somewhat, though, of outdoor soccer for the teams that get 3 points and the ties of 1 point.
Matt Matt hates it so much he just left. Hey, by the way, I think we're all in agreement, all three of us, that we love everything about this announcement that came out on Friday. So
Agreed.
our points are going to come up. They may voices may sound critical based on what conversations I've had, but I love everything about it. So let's get that out of the way. Love it, and then let's get into some of the things. So,
I love it too.
I don't.
Yeah, me three.
Eric
Love
wants
it.
bring back pick your opponent. So anyway,
For the finals?
so let's go to the playoff format. So then there's a handful of timeouts. There's a handful of tiebreakers. Sorry, Eric, I took your word. Wait, let me hang on.
We're gonna think we're really timed
And
out.
we're back. There's a number of tiebreakers that mean more sense than all the other stuff that we were talking about. And I think it's much more straightforward. It makes sense. So far we haven't really had to deal with the tiebreaker, but we were in scenarios where you couldn't really announce the playoff teams. You couldn't really figure out who was going to the playoffs because all these crazy scenarios are going to come up. And if this team wins and that team wins and that team loses and that team loses, we could have the tiebreaker, which is goal differential against the home and visiting and all this other stuff. So I think it's much more straightforward. Love it. The next thing is the playoff format. For the first time in my indoor soccer life has been decided, well, maybe not. For the first time in the MASL has been decided before the season starts. Absolutely love it. Nothing I can say bad about that. The seeding and everything is a little weird because there's only 12 teams, and 12 is, of course, not an even playoff number. We were thinking maybe it would be the top 2 from each division, but then that leaves what do you do with the top 2 teams when the schedules aren't exactly even, or who gets a bye, or you flip a coin, or does one team have to play, 3 teams on the same field or something, or weird things. So what they did is each division leader automatically gets into the playoffs and are going to be the top 3 seeds. And then seeds 4 through 8, so the next 5 spots, they're going to call them wild cards. And then the seeding goes out where 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7, and just like any other playoffs that we've ever done in our lives. So there is no pick the winner thing or pick your poison, pick your who's going to knock Florida out of the first round. None of that. Or was it the second round?
I heard through the grapevine that this actually beat out another idea where the top 3 teams were the top 3 seeds, and then every other team was going to be in the picker wheel, and it was just going to be picker wheel style.
I like that better now. I don't like this format as much as the picker wheel option.
I mean, no one does. I mean,
right.
You tell me I'm negative about the picker wheel.
I do have some news that nobody knows about yet, although I don't have the full news and I don't have 100% details on it. The league, so what's going to happen is all of the series, so there's the first round, semifinals, and finals, will be a home and home format. And then if you read the wording of the MSL press release, it says all series will be a home and home format, and if the teams are tied with 1 win each, they will play a 15-minute overtime period. If they are still tied, it will advance to golden goal overtime. I asked the question, what does that mean? We're calling it overtime. Is it not a mini game? What does it matter? And I was told, and this is the quote I'm able to say, the league is eliminating the mini game, but they're still working on let me try this in English. The league is eliminating the mini game, but still working on final details, so stay tuned for what's going to happen with that. So it's going to sound like the mini game, but it's not going to be the mini game, even though it might seem like the mini game. They're looking to get rid of that mini game and make it more of a
home and away.
Home and away. I think in the future, and this is kind of my gut with maybe some hints, not this season, but in the future, they want to go to a true 3-game series. But playoff dates and arena dates are a mess, so they need to get that schedule finalized much sooner and get arena dates at least held for those possible dates from pretty much every team except for Pride. So what does this mean? This means 4 teams will not be in the playoffs, but it doesn't mean that 2 teams from each division will be going. There's a chance that we could have all 4 teams from one division going and only the division winner from another division going, because it's going to be based on overall record from that 4 to 8, those 5 spots there. I think that's pretty
mathematically is that
point
possible.
Total. Isn't it point total?
Well, point total, right. Mathematically, it is possible. I did the math in my head. I went like,
this guy can't go home.
It is possible for one team to have 4, but one division would have to have 2 for sure then.
Oh, wait, hang on a second. Oh, I've just been told Dallas has been eliminated from the playoffs already. So
Oh.
there's eight spots for 11 teams.
You know what will be funny if Dallas has a killer season? That's what will be funny.
I knew this was a dream. Oh wait, no. Gio says that in real life. It'll only be a dream if it's really.
It would be funny though.
So here there is one thing that I do not like about this system, but it's strictly having to do with the fact that there's only 12 teams, is that we may have a East versus East or West versus West final. That's my only drawback, but totally nothing we can do about it this season because there is no East and West. There's the East, the Central, and the West. I think when they get back to 16 or plus teams, it'll go back to a conference with divisions in each conference, the way we're kind of used to, and we'll go with that. But I do like the fact that there's a bunch of cross conference play and across, old East versus West rivalries and things like that. I do like that.
I do want to make a quick. I think was it Jack who said it yeah, Jack was talking about the playoff system, how you have to think about like your points and now. I think that adds an extra layer to the league as far as like how teams approach each game, right? They're gonna count if they close out the game in regular time, or if they're like, okay, we could let this point slide because we don't want this team to have more points. But I think it's a really interesting, play they have to have outside the field or not in play, quote unquote.
Yeah.
It definitely adds to it. So I'm excited that they're using this point system and not win percentages. I've never been a fan of win percentages.
I had a conversation with someone in one of the posts where he hates it because a win is a win. Why you have to deal with all this point crap, blah 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 blah. And I said, so your team dominates the other team, wins say 10-4. The other team really had no chance, dominated possession, dominated everything aspect of the game, but it's indoors, so the other team, we give them 4 goals. Game 2, your team fights them to a 5-5 tie. Completely hypothetical situation here that certainly never happened in San Diego a few years ago. Goes through overtime, plays perfectly even. Both goalies have incredible saves. Goes to a shootout, and then the final shot of the shootout, Craig Childs pulls some weird rule that nobody knew about and scores a goal and wins. Should those 2 games be equal the same amount? And he said yes, because a win's a win and a loss is a loss, and they should equal the same. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to argue anymore. But for a fan, knowing that if you can't win in overtime, you're losing a point. And if you go out there and you play your heart out and you get the absolute closest to a tie that there is without being a tie, because it's not possible, you still get a point out of it. You still get something out of that road trip. That means a lot to me. So I think for that reason alone, I like the point system.
Yep.
A lot.
I agree. I completely love this system. I mean, it's gonna be, like you said, it's rewarding the teams that either are dominating or are just doing enough to win and beat the team, or just I'm pretty sure more teams are gonna be hungry, and you'll probably get more exciting play because, all right, if we're like really really far behind, we could come back and potentially tie this and walk away with at least a point at minimum.
We're getting close to the end of the season and we have to run the table. But not only do we have to run the table, we have to win in regulation all of our games. Or even stranger, you get to down to the wire, and if this team ties, they don't go in. But if they tie and then they win, they go in. But if we win, there's a lot of cool situations that can happen. Granted, the argument that I'm going to get from the person that was arguing with me is going to be, well, it's going to be the same thing with win percentages. It just looks whatever. This is cool. This is new. We like it.
But it's not, though. It's not going to be the same because a team that ties often could potentially come out and go into the playoffs by a certain number of wins, as where a win percentages would write that team off.
Yes. There was one argument that I heard that, well, it's possible that a team will have more points and finish ahead of the team with the better record or something like that. Like a team could. Bye, Matt. A
Bye,
team
No,
Matt.
I'm
could
here.
have.
Hang on.
Okay. A team could have fewer wins but more points than another team. But it's not like we're making this system up in the middle of the season. Every team is going into the season knowing exactly what they're playing for, exactly what every game means, exactly what the playoff scenario is. So to answer Eric's question, so Eric said, for those of you who didn't see the chat, here's my question related to the negative fan reaction following the playoffs announcement. And then I won't. He said if an MASL team were to sign Messi, would some fans complain that they were trying to ruin the game? Yes, some fans would. Eric just had another point. He said, imagine pulling the sixth attacker with 2 minutes left in a tied game because you need the 3 points. Exactly. Because you won't be able to win with 2. So you need the 3. But Eric, I noticed 95% of the negative comments were from the same people who complain about everything. The same.
They're just never happy.
Old school fans that want everything to be like the 80s, and if you don't come up with a situation exactly like it was in the 80s, it's not good because it isn't what it was in the 80s.
We talk about that we want this game to be exciting and all that. This is making it exciting.
This is
gonna put teams in certain scenarios where they're gonna have to go all out, or they're gonna play reserve and punish one team that's gonna be going all out in order to punish another team. So it's yeah, I know, right? That was confusing, right? But it makes sense because they're trying to tie this team so that the other team doesn't come through or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's exciting for me. I'm excited to see how teams handle this, how coaches prepare for this, because it's going to go a lot into strategy, how you approach each game, whether you're more offensive or you're a little bit reserved.
In the worst case, 1987, Eric, you're right. Wasn't that the year that song you were singing came out in?
Like count.
It is that year.
Hang on.
Matt, what did you touch? This we blame Matt. This is that's all.
Oh, it was 84. Okay.
Was it 84?
Well, things were better in 84 than they were now too.
But yeah, I'm excited. And as far as like the seeding goes, I mean, what else could you really do with three conferences, divisions?
Well,
Whatever.
there's a couple things you could do. You could take the top 2 from each division and then figure out some kind of bye thing. Or you could just flat out just do the top 8 of 12. Regardless of who wins the division. But then it's why do we have divisions and what does it matter?
Then teams are just going to just skate by. I think winning the division and then picking it off of points encourages the teams to really go at it.
So Kevin, I'm going to pick on you a little bit. What is wrong with the point system? I haven't yet to hear a reasonable argument of why the point system is bad.
Well, let's not wait for the answer.
We're not going to wait for the answer, but the worst case, let's say the end of the season comes and the point system doesn't come into play. It doesn't make any games more interesting, and the standings would have been the same if you didn't have the point system versus if you did. Who cares? Does it hurt anybody if that's the case? Because that was the argument that I heard. Like, whoa, it's going to be the same thing. And I went back through this last 58 seasons of indoor soccer, and I looked at all the stats, and you can guess what I'm talking about. I said, I went through all the stats, and it turned out it wouldn't have changed anything. Okay, well, then who cares? And what's the big deal about this? Like, why does it matter? Hockey does it. I don't know if any other sports do, outdoor does the point system.
Yeah, outdoor does the point.
Yeah, and that's exactly what indoor soccer mimics is soccer and hockey.
It's
when it comes to
sock
hockey,
let's go.
Sock hock. No, I don't know.
That sounds so dirty.
If Aaron De La Rosa ever watches this show, we have already chosen the new name for the sport. It's called Thunderdome.
I did not agree.
In all caps, Thunderdome.
It's Thunderdome.
No, sock hock.
Thunderdome.
Whoa. Don't change my name. This is blasphemy. This is blasphemy.
No, this is Thunderdome.
No.
All right. Oh, by the way, if are watching this video and you have not subscribed to the channel, subscribe.
Oh, look at you go, Adam.
Hit the little
I'm
bell
so proud of
thingy.
you.
Click the like. We only have one like. And that's probably Geo.
No, I haven't liked it yet. Someone down
No, I
liked
think
us.
I did.
Someone down
I think
like
it was
this.
me.
That's because we're talking
Yeah.
about that we support the system.
I can appreciate you disagreeing with me.
On my music videos, I post them on Reddit, and there's one guy who always downvotes it. So Kevin, I still haven't heard a reason why the point system is crap. I have not heard a reason. Give me an actual reason, like a legitimate, a legitimate.
Well,
It is bad
him,
because no. Hang on.
to him, a win is a win is a legitimate reason. So, okay, here, let me ask you a question, Kevin. What is this taking away from your win? I mean, you still get 2 points, or you get 3 points. So essentially, you're still walking away with more points than a loss or a tie.
or a loss.
Or-
What we
Yeah.
could do is we could give the teams 1 point for every 3 goals they score.
No. No. I know. that I couldn't accept. That in MPS. Oh no.
So 3 corn dogs from outside the arc, 2 corn dogs from inside the arc.
Let's not get into that
No.
conversation.
All right. So, needless to say, we are big fans of the
point system.
of the announcement on Friday. Top to bottom, big fans. The guy who downvoted us obviously doesn't like it.
I actually do think though that the fact that the league announced the playoffs like right now is so amazing because it gives teams not only what they have to plan or how they have to plan, but they can start doing it right now, right? So it's like, all right, we know we need to get whatever X amount of wins, and they look at their schedule like, oh, we're gonna play Utica this many times. I'm just kidding, man. we're gonna play whatever team.
Don't need to bring our roster to those games.
I know, right?
Well, it won't be the debacle we had when. Sorry, Andrew, I'm going to pick on you. When Florida had to go to Canada and didn't have any players that could travel to Canada and just signed guys basically off the street and got shut out. Like, Canada only had 2-3 wins that year, and the only shutout of the season was against Florida.
The impromptu Florida.
Yeah, right. There was like 2 guys who could make it, and everyone else they had to sign. And St. Louis had to do that when they went down to play back-to-back in Sonora and got just creamed because they just didn't have their guys. They had a goalkeeper off, basically the Chicago Mustangs, reserve guy. And
right.
I don't want to see any of that. I would have been happy with the playoff schedule coming out like the day before the league starts. But this is like almost 2 months before the first game. Well, 5 weeks before the first game. Plenty of time to strategize around it, to look at the schedule. And
so did they mention just the first round being home and home?
Every round.
Or is it every, like, so 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7? Did they mention like the next round after that? Because I think it would have been cool to do the pick your opponent after the first round.
They did not. But they didn't say anything about the semifinals other than it was just a home and a home. So every round of the playoffs is a home and home with the not mini game.
Right. I guess, but what I'm saying is what happens after the first round. So 1 moves on. Do they get to pick whoever's left of the bunch? I mean, that would make it more interesting, I think.
So
just not the first round.
To answer Kevin's point, there still is overtime and there still is a shootout. So the way let's explain the rule or the point system a little bit.
What he's saying is do sudden death overtime for every regular season game. And
I see what you're saying.
There's a couple games, there's a couple back-to-backs, and granted, this is still an issue in the league there are a couple back-to-backs where the team is playing at like 7 p.m. Saturday and then 2 p.m. Sunday. And when you have that, you can't open up the possibility of like unlimited overtimes. You okay there, Matt?
He's touching stuff. He's being a bad host. He's touching too much. But
the real first game is okay. So Eric, they still came out with the schedule of the league or the playoff format before the Central Cup started.
Touche.
There's our target.
That's
There's our
right.
baseline.
And we beat the Central Cup. Let's go. I mean, well, we didn't beat it, but they announced it before it happened.
Yes.
So I'm okay with that. My phone crackled again. It's because you're touching stuff, Adam. I mean, Matt. Sorry, Adam.
What? I didn't do it. Two other guys.
He was touching stuff. He was answering text messages. Blame him. No, but I think going right into this point system again, like the fact that teams, what Kevin said, that no sudden death, just go right into sudden death, no overtime and all that, it's going to take away the joys of those extra overtime minutes when you're really watching a really fun game that's like really high intensity, and then you're just going to cut it short to go into sudden death. I don't know. I like the overtime.
I get what Kevin's saying, and a lot of people have said that. Usually what happens is when somebody goes into overtime and loses, or it goes to a shootout and they lose, that's when they want the unlimited overtimes. Kevin, I don't know if you know this, the playoffs do have unlimited overtimes in all playoff games. It's just regular season that does the shootout. There will be no shootouts in the playoffs. It will be an unlimited overtime. I think, that's the way we've done it in the past.
I mean, they didn't say they weren't going to do that.
Yeah, I would assume they're not.
It says if teams are tied, it will advance into golden goal overtime. So there is no unlimited overtime, my sir. Well, I mean, there will be if no one scores a goal.
That's for the minigame, or the not minigame, though.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The sentence before that. You're right. Yep. I'll be quiet. I will be quiet.
See, Jack, I think that's the problem with the U.S. We will not be satisfied with that, and that'll get people. That's one complaint about soccer is that, they play for 2 hours and they run 6 miles, and then nobody scores, and then it's just a tie and they don't even finish anything. The few times that there have been ties in like NFL, the fans have all been pissed off.
What's
Brian,
wrong with the tie?
there was a golden goal.
Yeah, it's for the minigame. Not the minigame. The whatever they're trying to do to cancel the minigame.
Right. So yeah, Brian. So that basically. So think of it. We're not calling it the minigame, but it might be the minigame. Scotty, you keep quiet.
Yes. Don't get me started, Scotty. We are Dallas buddies, and you're trying to get me going. Don't do that.
Hang on. Let me reply to Brian. So Brian, they're gonna do a home and a home. If it's still tied, they're gonna do what we know as the mini game, and then in the mini game, if it's gonna be one regular quarter where you can score how many ever goals you want. If it's tied after that, then they go into the golden goal overtime, but they'll go into multiple golden goal overtimes until it's decided, and we've actually seen that. Not the Golden Girls, not Betty White's.
Was here this whole time?
How long have you been here, Matt? Sorry, I didn't.
You scared the life out of me.
Every time you join, it gives you a different link, and then I have to add the link back in. So
I wasn't. So for the record, I was not touching anything.
Yes, you were.
No, seriously, my hands.
You need to hold your hands over your head at all times during the show.
All right. So
oh my God! Don't go into this territory. Please don't. Matt, put him down.
He's frozen.
Simon didn't
You
say.
shouldn't say. It's a perfect time for you to freeze like that.
I should have.
Kevin, I agree with you. I don't think this game is good for ties. Jack, I'm sorry. I don't like the idea of ties.
I think this game has to be different from the outdoor game. Like, okay, sorry, I'm gonna go on a soapbox real quick. Look, thank you very much. So what I don't want to say the leadership or anyone's doing, but some of the directions they're taking, whether it's the futsal direction or getting ourselves back into the conversation, right? I know that's direct words from the leadership, but the conversation isn't supporting us. Why are we developing players to go into outdoor? That's fine if it happens. It just happens to be a positive overspill of talent because we have so much talent, let's say, right? But why aren't we developing players for this game? Why aren't we having academies that develop players from the beginning all the way up to play professionally? If the goal is to grow this league and the goal is to get it to a point where we have better salaries, teams with higher budgets and better branding or whatever where we're trying to build to, why are we trying to this is going to sound bad, but why are we trying to leech onto the outdoor game? Let's make ourselves an identity. And if so happens that some of our players become great because of our game and can play outdoor, good, let it happen. But let that not be the goal. You know what I mean? Let that be like a secondary target.
The ultimate goal is that there isn't just one place there isn't one place for a professional or a growing soccer player to aspire to play.
Right.
The ultimate goal is, I have a really hard decision. I could go the indoor or the outdoor route, and both pay the same. Both would give me a great career opportunity, and both would give me a great career.
Right, but right now we have academies that only develop outdoor players, right?
We have academies that don't want to play indoor because they think futsal is better for the foot skills, and you can ask any coach and they'll agree with that because you can just bang it off the wall in indoor. But if indoor was a thing that you could actually aspire to and still play and make it a legitimate go at it, then I think that would be a very big decision point early on.
So like what I always tell, like when I have like my team meetings with my parents and they're like, what are we going to do this year, futsal or indoor? Because sometimes I do indoor, sometimes I do futsal. I always ask them, what do you want your son to learn? Do you want him to learn to be creative and have foot skills, or do you want to have foot skills and you can do one-on-one defending and attacking? Depending on your answer right there is the direction I'll take you. If you want to be creative and have like really quick feet, we'll go to futsal. If we want to go on one-on-one defending and one-on-one attacking, we'll go indoor.
Yeah.
That's how I separate them, really.
Yeah, coach, you definitely need to develop from the youth level. It needs to be an ongoing conversation throughout a player's career, and that starts when they're U7 or whatever, first year is going to be. It needs to be a conversation up through that. I mean, I remember playing as a kid. I loved indoor. It was the greatest thing. Now, granted, there was no such thing as futsal. At least in the United States, it was just not a thing. And indoor was the coolest thing because we could play off the walls, and it was all this. It was super fast, and for the fast kids, I was one. I'm not now, but it was great because you could just blow by people, and if they got in the way, you just throw it on the on the wall right around them, and it was the coolest thing ever. The goal was smaller. The goalkeepers loved it. And they could get more involved, and they didn't have to just sit there watching their team from the binoculars from halfway across the field and wondering what was going on, or looking at the airplanes in the skies or all this other stuff.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with you, Coach. It's going to take some time, but I think if the teams in our leagues were to develop youth academies, right, and obviously they're not going to pigeonhole them into indoor. Like the regular academies now, in the fall they'll play outdoor, then they'll transition into the indoor game, and then in the spring they choose to either do outdoor again or stay in indoor. It's really up to the club. But I think if we start building that, one, it's not only just going to be to develop talent, but it's also going to be a way to market the teams, right? The clubs will become household names, if more than they already are. And you could, you're going to see a lot more people wearing that gear. I promise you.
Yeah. And yes, Kevin, totally agree. And Brian, yeah, that's a good point too. No limits on subs.
All good points. Yes, all
Sorry,
good
I'm
points.
off my soapbox now.
No,
all
that's
good
fine.
points.
There was something I was gonna say a while ago, and what it was, but
I love to hear that, Coach. Oh, look at that. Made
yeah.
my
Wait.
night. You're the man.
Wait, who's on? I can't see the chat, remember? So I don't know.
So Coach B said this is something we're looking at on the Grand Rapid Wanderers. We have
Oh, okay. All right.
a few teams starting this year. I'm gonna follow. I already follow you guys. I'm really good friends with Pedro, but I will continue to follow even more now that I hear that you guys are creating an academy.
Yeah. And I know we have the academy called. Yeah, look at that. See the scarf?
Yeah.
We actually have academy called
I
the
have that
SC
scarf
Wave.
too.
Um,
Sorry, Adam.
so our academy, the main academy in the Milwaukee area used to be called SC Waukesha, suburb of Milwaukee, and then they kind of expanded out of different cities, and now they're under the SC Wave umbrella. Matt touched the scarf, and it screwed up his audio.
Matt, the static. I'm just kidding.
But
but yeah. So let's get back to the league stuff. Oh wait, we need Matt for the betting stuff.
we need Matt for the betting stuff. There's some kind of thing coming up here.
Where?
I don't know, November. What it is though? Not trick or treating. It's
The preseason games.
Oh, the Central Cup. I almost forgot the name of it. Sorry, Eric. I almost forgot the name of the Central Cup. Can you believe that? You probably can't, but
How excited are you? I'm excited for the Central Cup.
I'm excited to watch a game.
Well, I've been watching games.
But what kind of games?
The league in Mexico. The leagues.
That's not the same though.
Multiple leagues now.
Same. It's not the same as Soothing Sounds
You don't
of
understand it.
Nick Vassos and Eric Bergerud. I understand a lot, but the camera angles are bad, and the
yes, they need a lot of help down there. They're like worse than M2. No offense, M2.
But I mean, that's for M2. That's not one of the
concerns.
Right, concerns, or they're focusing more on getting the teams going and getting fans and everyone engaged. It's not really a concern until they move up that level.
Right. I can. Yeah, Mexico. They need a lot of infrastructure. They have the talent. They have the teams. They have the followings. What they don't have is the TV. Like how they stream is atrocious.
Yeah.
The only team that has a great setup is obviously Savage, and the other team is Marlins. But I guess a rumor they potentially are coming to, if not M2 if not M1, M2, but it won't be till next season.
Jack, I do not have any knowledge. We talked to JP. They want to do some sort of deal, so there are discussions in the works. I just don't know what those are. Matt, we have to figure out something. I do have one more thing to try, but I don't want to try it live on the show in case it ruins everything.
So we'll put on hold the betting conversation because we need Matt for that.
Need Matt for that.
We will definitely help with that on hold. Also, there's a few other preseason games like Ontario playing Ontario Fury 2.
There is. That should be a really interesting game. I don't think the Fury 2 has been doing much since they left.
Right.
And came back. Now, does the Fury 2 get to sign Fury players like the M2 team got to sign?
That's an interesting point. Is that rule going to change? Because I saw there was a lot of MASL players playing in M2. I thought, to me, the whole point was to develop talent. But I know some players needed a place to play.
I think hang on, Matt. Before you join, let me send you another link. Matt, join. All right.
Yes,
Matt's
Kevin.
back. Yep. Hands up in the air.
We agree, Kevin. That's why they went down to M2. Turlock needed some work, a lot of work.
I'm still a secret guilty pleasure Turlock fan.
It's just because Angel.
It's Mario.
Because of
yeah,
Mario.
Mario, right?
So the first game I ever watched in Turlock, they allowed people to run behind the goals,
That's insane.
and they were playing the Las Vegas Legends. It was like 8 minutes into the fourth quarter, and they were down 7-2. And these guys kept running around behind the goalkeeper with their like tambourines and their ratchets and their bells and everything. And they ended up coming back and they won in overtime 8-7. I'm like, and that was before they got HD cameras. So this was like, the pixels were almost worse than Matt's video when it gets bad. And I was like, what is this team and what is this league and how are we going? Because the Wave have played in the arena for years.
Right.
And it's like, what is this? Like the Wave is doing like seat upgrades and they brand new scoreboard and they brand new lights and everything. And there's this Turlock where you could actually see the bubble soccer being played in the background on the backfield.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? What is going on here?
Weren't we gonna have Mario on the show at one point?
I couldn't get a straight answer out of him.
Twitter.
We tried.
Kevin, is their announcer isn't or is freaking awesome? Because I think he is, but not in a competitively like he's one of the better teams in the league. He's awesome for all of his own reasons. But if we're talking about professional standards and we're talking about the way the league should be run, it just can't be done.
Can't. Aside from isn't San Diego also, or sorry, Tacoma also having a preseason game?
Yeah, they're playing. Is it Bellingham?
I thought they already did have a preseason game.
Go. Look, you keep
I thought they had one like last weekend.
Oh, they already had one. Yeah,
2 weekends
they had
ago.
one.
Yeah, they did, but they also they blew them out of the water.
Yeah,
They didn't answer any questions about if it was streamed or not, so I'm assuming it wasn't.
I heard the winners of I heard Tacoma got a trophy, and it's right next to the corn dog trophy in a receptacle somewhere
in the dumpster in the back of the building. Yeah. Kevin, so back to Turlocks. So if you guys wonder why it takes so long for us to answer you, there's about a 20 or 30 second delay between when we talk and when YouTube does it. And I think there's ways we can get around that, but I think we'll hang on and test that on our own maybe before we try to do that. But Mario and Craig Elston in San Diego would be one of the most amazing things ever because Craig hates that guy. He cannot stand that guy. And the two of them in the booth together would be one of the best. We need a live camera feed through the entire game. And then the two of them announcing would be the greatest thing ever.
I wonder if they're going to change their color commentator.
San Diego?
Yeah.
Why is Nate?
No, just because of how Jeremy's has been really becoming part of the organization. I wonder if him and Craig are going to do it.
Nah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Jeremy Jimenez. He does the podcast with him.
Yeah, I don't know. I know Nate does Liga MX.
Or Jerry.
Or used to.
They say.
So San Diego, if you can turn Nate's mic down just.
Oh yeah, please. Sometimes he blows my ear out.
A little bit. Just a little bit. Turn it down just a little bit. And don't turn it up every quarter.
Oh, like ambush?
Are you kidding me?
Great transition.
Great transition.
They have a new announcer.
It's kind of like I'm a. No, I'm not. Never mind.
Kind of like you almost know what you're doing.
Well.
So St. Louis has a new announcer, Joey
Zanaboni.
Joey Zanaboni.
That's a great name.
I'm really interested to see how he'll do. I think he'll be good. He just needs to talk to Eric and Nick.
I heard a funny name today. Johnny Smokovich. Nothing to do with soccer, but I heard that name and I'm like, that guy needs to be doing something else than whatever he's doing right now, because that needs to be like he needs to have an action movie series with him on the main poster with a machine gun over his shoulder or whatever. That's the perfect name for that. Brian has the trophy next to his bed. Wait, the corn dog trophy or the trophy from the preseason game?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a good question.
He
Yeah.
has the corn dog trophy. Could you imagine? That'd be funny.
Hey, this segues into something else.
I'm
Tacoma.
crackling again.
All right,
He's teleporting.
he's teleporting. Yeah.
What is that Star Trek saying?
Beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah, that.
Oh, wait, it's not bad now.
No, that's fine. Don't move.
Oh, it's not.
Just don't talk.
Um,
say, beam me up, Scotty.
Matt,
just
if
do
you
it
join
one
again,
time.
let me send you another link, and we're gonna have to fix you. We're gonna have to change your video quality.
Okay.
But try that link that I just sent.
All right.
Say, beam me up, Scotty. Come on.
Beam me
Yeah.
up. Oh, bye. Leave already. Can't take the crackling. So for Brian in Tacoma, and Brian's never seen the corn dog trophy. Imagine that.
Imagine
There is a teddy bear toss game in
that.
Tacoma.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I would like to send someone a corn dog to throw out on the field for that game. For the teddy bear toss.
Brian, can you do this kindness?
Brian, if you can message me and send me your mailing address, I would like to send you one. And I would also like to any team that's doing like a sorry. Jack just said Smokovich is a great hockey name. Hockey or like rocket launcher, machine gun. Either one of those.
Also, guys, if we can, how many subscribers do we have right now?
Not enough.
Okay, well, never
Way
mind.
less than Adam's channel.
We have we asked everyone to subscribe. We got 2 new subscribers tonight.
That's awesome.
We will be doing giveaways at a certain amount of subscribers, but it has to be more than just one every month. But anyway, we want to, any team that's doing a teddy bear toss, reach out to me, and we want to donate a corn dog for the teddy bear toss.
Yes, we got to order more corn dogs too.
I have, well, 2 of mine are spoken for. But yes, we need to do that. David Kraft, I still need to send you a corn dog. I'm looking over at the spot that they haven't moved in since you sent April or whenever. I did send 2 out. And we just got rid of all our cardboard for the week, so I'm gonna need to order some more stuff on Amazon so I get boxes so I can ship these things.
So Brian said he's gonna DM you his address.
I saw that. Yeah, cool.
Sweet. Scotty's working again.
So Matt, did you use the last link I just sent you?
Yes.
Oh, now it's worse.
That's dumb.
That's really dumb. That's really worse. But yeah, so I think that's since we're not going to go into betting, I think we could leave it there.
We could probably leave it there for tonight. Central
Yeah.
Cup. So
Central
far,
Cup.
everyone in the Central Cup is tied in first and last place. With 0 games played, 0 wins, 0 losses, 0 points. Look at it that way.
Oh,
I don't think they're doing points for the Central Cup.
I was just going to ask if they're going to do the point system. That'd be a good place to try it.
At some point, I read the release for it, and I don't know how they're doing it.
Eric, can you give us like a hint of what the point system's going to be there? When you give it a chance? When you get a chance. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see how Omaha does.
I think Omaha may not be quite as good as Ryan O'Hara thinks, but I think they're going to be. Let me good. Let me read. Okay, so if one of the two, so there's only 4 games in the Central Cup this year.
Right.
If one of the teams has 2 wins and the other 3 each have 1, that team with the 2 wins will be the tournament champion. If 2 teams each have 2 wins, the winner will be determined by head-to-head, goals against, and goal differential. That's how they're going to do it. Which makes sense because, I mean, they can't go crazy with it and have playoffs and replayoffs and everything because there's only 2 dates.
I wish they would have at least like done it like 3 days,
Yeah.
and one of the days be like the following weekend, because they're playing 2 games on the 12th and then 2 games on the 13th.
Yep.
One of which is at 3:30 in the day.
Well, and both.
And it's one of the games I want to see, which is Comets versus Kings. And I might have to miss that
Saturday
game.
though.
Yeah, but I usually have games during those hours.
Isn't it winter time by you then?
We play outdoor in the winter sometimes.
Yeah. We played my daughter played a game in Indianapolis on like November 20th. It was 35 degrees and raining sideways.
Yeah. There's outdoor leagues here in December, January, and February.
It's going to be interesting because the first game is in KC at 7 p.m. on Friday, the 12th. And then the second game starts
Against
at
the Wings.
7:35. Right. The second game starts at 7:35. I'm going to have to avoid online everything. And Eric and Nick, you need to not spoil the scores during that game.
No, please do. No, actually, I wonder if there's going to be betting for the Central Cup.
Ooh.
Because I'm going to bet. Also, another question. One of the players, isn't it KC's second keeper is the Wings keeper?
Yes. No. Saxby.
Saxby, yeah.
But
So who's he going to play for?
Who's Hammerski or Hummersky?
Hammerski?
They're both Wings keepers.
No, they're not. Are they really? Hold on, I'm gonna look at the Wings roster.
I don't know. I haven't seen rosters yet. I don't know if rosters have been decided yet.
Well, I mean, the Wings playing is in M2, so their roster should already be set.
Did you know the Comets won the inaugural Central Cup?
We
December
did?
2020.
I called it. No, I didn't. And we already know who I picked.
Pick Dallas.
I did pick Dallas. So it is Hammersky or Hammerski?
I've heard Hammerski and Hummersky. I've heard those 2 pronunciations.
All right, so we're just gonna go with Steven. Okay, Steven is the keeper. Saxby is no longer their keeper.
Okay, because he's probably back up for Casey.
Right, and so their former backup, who was Aaron, is now looks like he's going to be the number 1, and Hammersky or Steven is going to be the backup for Aaron.
So let me get on a soapbox here a little bit.
Sure.
I called out Sid before, and I am going to call him out again in a good way. He's come up with some really good ideas over the last couple of weeks, and I said, did you get hacked because you've had all these really good ideas lately? And he's like, well, I've always had good ideas, just nobody listens to me. So his one idea was, if you're going to mess with the goalkeeper rule, do it in M3 or M2 first for a season. Agreed. Before you start screwing around with it.
Yes.
His other one was have JP announce a game in each city and use it as a learning experience and how this should be done from prep time all the way through game time to announcing. Granted, there's some teams out there, Nick and Eric definitely don't need it, but
right.
It would be really cool. I mean, they don't need the things, but it would be really cool to have him announce a game in every city to get his voice out there. And I was like, well, that's brilliant. How did you think of that all on your own? Because then there are other teams that obviously need some help, and they may not know where to go because they just know what they're used to. And things like name pronunciation. I mean, when we were on the talking to Nick before the All-Star game, he has a giant poster board with just dozens of notes written down on it, pronunciations, all sorts of stuff. All the little things that they talk about during the game, he has that all noted out and everything. And I think a lot of people maybe do that, or they wait for their producer to find something, or they're kind of just hanging on looking for information. I think, and that kind of leads me up to, the St. Louis having a new announcer guy. Looking forward to that, and I hope they can fix some of the issues they've had in the past.
I think that's a really good idea to have JP come out and just show the guys how to do, because JP knows the game. Like, personally, I really don't think. I mean, with practice, obviously, people can learn, but I think announcing an outdoor game or baseball or American football is a really hard transition to indoor.
Well, there are a lot of indoor announcers are hockey announcers that just kind of move over.
No, and that kind of makes more sense than some of these other ones, sports I just mentioned. I said some of these other ones. Some of these sports I just mentioned.
Yeah.
That because, like, I mean, if you were trying to announce this game like you would do an outdoor game, I don't think it would go well. It wouldn't go well at all. It's too fast.
It would sound like Brian in Florida.
It's just way too fast. I mean, it's really hard to keep up. Like in outdoor, you have to slow build up. Sometimes you have quick counters and stuff like that. It's just way different, and I don't think it would be a good transition. So I think JP knowing the game, having played the game, and being the person he is, it would be great to have him come out and announce a game.
Well, and even that, not even a training tool, it would be great for marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to make a tour of these cities that were worthy. There's certain ones that I don't think he would want to announce in right now, but he could. Florida. We could use it as a huge marketing tool for the league. I don't know what his schedule's like. I'm sure it's not the most. Calling offside. Yeah, we heard that it was in Dallas last year.
Wasn't one was a touchdown too? Someone got a touchdown.
Did they?
I think that was that Dallas as well.
The Cedar Rapids guy was amazing for not a lot of good reasons. He used to call what yard line they were on because it was football lines. But if you look at this, like, the goal line wasn't the goal.
Oh my God!
So they're on the 20, and they're like, no, they're not on the 20. They're 5 yards from midfield, which. And then he would say stuff like, oh, it's in the lower elbow. It's in the left elbow here. Oh, he's between the circles. Well, there are no circles. There's circles in hockey, but There's no circles in soccer. So you could definitely tell a lot of the guys who did hockey. There's other guys who, like the guy, the Heat announcer, and Brian Ackley they both don't have a color guy most of the time. I think what happens is they lose focus. And for a while, I thought the Heat had like an audio-visual delay because he was so far behind the action. And then there's the other guys who feel like they have, like me, who feel they have to fill up every single open second with something going on.
Sometimes you just gotta let them play.
There used to be a guy in, hang on. There used to be a guy in Chicago who sounded like he was out of breath every sentence he would say. And he's going, and he was goal. He's just like, dude, settle down, breathe. Okay, go ahead and say what you're gonna say.
So two things. It's interesting that some of the Mexican announcers do that, and they do that because they're coming from the outdoor game. The outdoor game, they have the slow build up, but then they have like parts where it's like a lot of action. So like that transition is needed to just to give the listener some kind of energy. But something I think only Eric knows this. I want to say like spring-ish season, mainly the playoffs and the finals. I was actually doing announcing for Columbia SC.
You were.
And
do we have any video of that?
We do have audio recording, and it was streamed on 11 Sports. And
cool.
It was the first time I was doing color because I had to man the camera. Color was I actually really enjoy color because I get to bring all the fun facts.
English or Spanish?
It was in English. It was in English. And then after the first time, I had to do like the actual game, like gameplay and commentator. That was a little bit more stressful.
I couldn't do it. I already know right now I couldn't do it. And which is funny because, a lot of people are like, well, I don't see you out there doing it. Yeah, I know I can't, but it's also not my job. So I'm just going to play that card.
It was fun. I would do it again. I would definitely do it again. And actually, Brad, I think this time the Central. Sorry to bounce around. I just saw this comment. The Central Cup, I think, is sanctioned this year.
So interesting little. I didn't see which team it was, where it was, but there was a game. So I follow a site called the18.com, which is it's a mainly outdoor site, but there have been a couple indoor things mentioned, like when Landon Donovan joined San Diego, that was mentioned, and a couple other things were mentioned about the league. A goalkeeper went after one of his own players for missing a tackle or something, and the goalkeeper got red carded. So, if there is retaliation this year, Benji could get red carded for hitting Johnson.
So Benji, don't do it.
So Benji, don't do it.
Don't do it. That should be a quote.
Oh, yeah. It'll be the Nike symbol upside down. Don't do it. All right.
No, but yeah. So Kevin, yes, we 100% agree with any team that has football lines. Get rid of them. Get rid of them.
So Mike, I talked to the well, not talked to, but just exchanged a couple of messages on one of the sites from whoever runs the production in Wichita. And I said, it's too bad Wichita can't fix their video feed because it looks like they have a pro level broadcast otherwise. And he got all defensive. Well, what's wrong with their blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, just watch feed from Milwaukee or KC. And his only answer was, I wish I had $500,000 to buy the equipment that they have and blah, 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 blah. We do our best. It's like, okay, you guys have an obvious like frame rate mismatch issue and the football lines just make it exaggerated and worse. Like what we saw in Florida last year. That first game was unwatchable because of how bad the video mismatch was. And when they fixed it, it looked great. But what happens is if you get that mismatch, it's slightly jerky audio or video. But if you have those lines, it like just, it just really, really, really exaggerates it. So yes, I agree. I think football lines need to be off of all the fields. I think they need to have dedicated indoor soccer turf. One of the things that Huff said when he was on the show one of the times was, first thing I would do as commissioner is get a turf contract for the league.
You know what's funny? Who has done that?
Indoor football?
No. Well, yes, but a fellow, let's call him a fellow indoor league has done that.
M3 PSL.
MIP no.
NISL. They did a turf deal?
Yeah, they did a turf thing.
What a brilliant idea.
I wonder where they got it from.
I don't know. Are they doing an all-star game too? But yeah, no, and I understand that, certain teams are at certain points in their turf life, but I think it would be a really cool thing. There is a let me find this. Everybody who's interested in arenas and turf and what they look like needs to.
I'm going to say this: if we can't have arenas that are dedicated to this game, at least let's have turfs that are dedicated to this game. Let's start small, right?
So Fort Worth indoor lacrosse has a new turf that looks just incredible.
Beautiful. Looks amazing. Is it the picture you sent us?
Yes. They are Panther City LAX on Facebook or PantherCityLAX.com. I won't post the link in our channel and into the chat because it's kind of.
What's FTF? What is that?
That's a Kevin, I have a comment about that in a second, but FTF is called For the Fans. That was the network that. Oh, that was where M2 was gonna be showing their games on
this season
for the playoffs, I think.
Oh, okay. Now it makes sense. Okay.
So, Kevin, just me personally, I used to, in fact, you could say I majored in pool in college instead of going to classes. But I'm a huge pool player. I got my table last year. I just got a recloth. I went 6-0 on my league last week, and I only missed 5 shots across 6 games. And now I'm bragging about myself because I can't do that because I could just as easily not make 6 shots across my 6, depending on what mood I'm in. But I'm a huge billiards fan. I've been watching all sorts of pool matches from like early 90s all the way up to present. But that said, if I was looking to watch an M2 game and they played billiards, I would lose my mind because we did that on 11 Sports. We had to wait for Major League Quidditch, that shit from Harry Potter that they made into an actual sport. We had to watch that and wait for that to be over. And then we missed a wave blast game because some baseball game went into like 15 extra innings. It was a 5.5 hour game.
So 11 Sports is different, right? So just for
That was on 11 Sports.
right. Well, no, I'm saying 11 Sports has changed, right? 11 Sports now bought this company called MyCujo. So now like teams stream however they want. They can control the streams. If they want 11 Sports to like run it, it's different and it will be streamed on like the main 11 Sports. But if it's done on this other system, well, it's still 11 Sports, but it's like manned by the teams. They can have their own commercials, their own sponsoring, our own sponsor, like we call those little things that are on the side of the TV or
Volume knob.
Yeah, sure, why not? Let's go with that. Um, so it's really interesting and awesome to see like how 11 Sports is using MyCujo. So some of these teams that have professional setups can run their own studio since they're already doing it and not have to deal with any of these situations or circumstances or whatever.
We need something to step up from that.
Again, we don't know what the league is trying to do though.
Right.
I wish they would. Is this asking for too much, having them announce it now soon?
I think they want to. I think they've been working on deals. I just think they don't have anything finalized. I totally understand why they did Facebook last season because it was a way
fine.
It was a way to offset some of the financial losses. But I think that's not a professional level streaming platform.
Yeah.
It kind of. I mean, YouTube wasn't either. I think they need to look away from YouTube and actually get a professional level streaming package. Now, there are a number of, FTF, there's 11 Sports, there's things I think rumor has it they were looking at beIN Sports for a couple seasons ago for playoff games.
They could do beIN Extra.
It would be simulcast. There's Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus is doing like the NWSL games. I think that would be a good one.
Right.
One of our shows that we really like is moving to that anyway, and we're gonna have to buy that anyway. So could buy that. I could get that for. But I know there's probably 200 streaming platforms out there that I don't even know about.
Yeah, like football TV. But yeah, I think that's a good place to call it, and
Yeah.
we'll hope to hear more news from the league. And I mean, as of what I've seen so far, I'm excited for the season. I'm happy with the playoff system. I'm happy that they announced the playoffs, and I'm happy with the schedule. So.
Yeah, I mean, I know we talked about this a little bit last time. Some teams are not happy with their schedules, but can't please everybody. And with the 12 teams, with essentially 3 islands now, you got your Florida, your Chihuahua, and your Tacoma Islands. It's just going to be tough this season to deal with the travel. There's no way around it. I mean, Dallas is almost kind of on their own island too. That's the nature of what our lives are in right now with COVID and all that other stuff. But Jack says Paramount Plus has so much soccer content, it'd be perfect. I think that would be good. I mean, it's I know the Paramount Plus isn't just. I think there has to be a channel on Paramount Plus, but I'm not sure how that works. But yeah, I mean, I think it started like $4.99 a month. We watch the show SEAL Team on CBS, and they're really pissing me off the way they're doing it. They're doing 4 episodes this season, and then the rest go to Paramount Plus. The 4 episodes just on regular CBS network.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're moving it over. I'm like, oh, you bastards. That's like evil genius, Dr. Evil kind of stuff there.
But that's getting people to go over, so makes sense.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. All right. So we do not know when the next show will be. We need to fix Matt's audio. Matt, sorry. Glad you were able to get on the show for a little bit if you're still out there watching. I don't know what happened. I don't know how we fix it, but we'll still work on it. And if we have to change platforms, give up our cool graphics, we will. That reminds me, hit the subscribe button. Hit the little bell thingy. Share, like, comment, subscribe. What else?
You can definitely comment. I love
comments are cool.
Because that way we could reply to them.
Yeah. For some reason, this chat doesn't show up in the feed for like a day or two. Takes a while to show up. The video show up right away, but the chat doesn't show up for a couple days.
And for those of you guys engaging with us, thank you.
Yes.
We appreciate that stuff.
Shout out to some of the new people. I mean, Jack, you've always been around. Eric, of course. Coach B, Kevin, great to see you guys in the chat. Scotty, I mean, you're always giving us a hard time, so we appreciate that. And did I say Jack? If I didn't say Jack, you've been great tonight. Brian, send me your mailing address. And anyone else who watches it and wants to leave a comment afterwards, let me know. And again, if there's other teams that are out there doing like the teddy bear toss specifically, where you can throw a stuffed animal onto the field, I want to get you a corn dog so you can take it to the game and throw it on the field for that. I think that would be cool.
Do it for us. I mean,
do it for the league, for the corn dog.
Yes.
For the
that
CASL.
Way we can start throwing corn dogs.
Corn dog? No. Or would it be MCSL?
You know what?
Major Corn Dog Soccer League or Corn Dog Arena Soccer League?
Why not just Corn Dog League?
Just CL? Because that's not a good acronym. MCL.
The best.
Okay, cool.
All right.
I got it. All right.
Good night, everyone.
Have a good night. We'll see you later.